Okay, good morning, everybody. I think we have everybody that had signed up. So I'm looking at the participant list to welcome everybody to our first Zoom meeting for Lower DuPage River Watershed Coalition. I'm going to assume everybody can hear me. If I could get a hand raised by someone just to make sure that, all right, awesome. Thank you. All right, I'm recording this meeting, so we'll be able to post it to the board, to our website once we're done, just to let everybody know. And we're going to move on to our next slide. There we go. So just a quick overview of the agenda everybody got. And we're going to move right on into it. So if there's any questions from anything from the minutes, you can enter those in the question and answer section. Otherwise, if, let's see if I have this set. So kind of the instructions here for how we're going to approve things. If somebody, I can get people to raise hands. So I got Steve Zahner making the motion and Joe Sledmick seconding. Sorry, I'm just going to keep notes as I'm going along here. And then I'm going to launch the poll. So you should have a screen that pops up on your screen. Hit your answer, click the submit button. All right, it looks like we're almost there. Okay, good. I think we're there. So we have the motion carried. We have 11 yeses and 2 abstains in polling. Okay. So the next piece we had was the TCF staffing contract. So I sent this as part of the packet for the meeting, and it really just reflects changes based with what was approved in the budget back in January. So we increased our FTE slightly up to 0.925, and the associated cost with that was reflected in the contract. And so that staffing change had been reallocating some of my hours and Nancy's hours, bringing Dina in to assist with, well, she's already working on the NIP part of things on behalf of DRCW, but there's a number of activities that she is doing for the Lower DuPage as part of that process. So we're going to be covering some of that time, as well as we have our new Watershed tech, Alex Handel, who started with us earlier this year and is going to be working on taking over a lot of our field sampling. So we've been working with Alex to get the DO probes out, and Alex is going to be taking care of visiting those weekly and recalibrating them, as well as helping out with some other field activities. And then we added a line of text just reflecting that the outreach materials are developed in partnership with the Lower Des Plaines Watershed Group and TCF, and that all of those organizations can use those materials freely. We had put in a similar piece of text into the Lower Des Plaines contract, so just felt it was a good idea to keep everything consistent. So if I can get a motion to, unless there's questions, if there's questions, please put them in the question and answer section. If not, if we could get a motion to approve the contract. So I got Andrew, if I get a second, and Joe. Let me get that poll launched. And this is the, So again, if you can click your answer and then hit the submit button. Okay, just about there. Okay, so we have 9 yes votes and 4 abstains. I'm gonna end the polling. And we are done with that part. So the next piece on the agenda was just sort of going over some things for the nutrient implementation plan. We had a presentation back in January that Stephen McCracken did on the IPS model. Things are still kind of plugging away with that. They're really wrapping up that process. Part of that process has been to do a peer review, and that is nearing completion. The consultant submitted all of their kind of comments on the IPS model, and some of that stuff is being kind of gone through with MBI currently. Then discussions are continuing on in the projects committee. That's both DRCW, and then we have a number of lower DuPage folks participating on that committee. So we should have some final information off of that very soon, and hopefully we'll have enough all pulled together by our July meeting to have Stephen come back and kind of give a final presentation on the IPS model and where things are at. And so that has really been the work in progress right now on the NIP, because the nutrient trading program is really kind of waiting on that. Project ID has been waiting on the completion of that. The other piece, I know Dina is working with the consultants, collecting all the available data there is for the Qual 2K model update. She's been working with individual municipalities on any modeling that they have done that may have collected information that would be useful in the modeling effort that we're doing. And then also working through the state water survey project that's going on in Will County, looking at the groundwater study. And so there's information that many municipalities have been submitting to that project, and we're able to just get that information directly from the water survey versus having communities resubmit that data individually. So things are moving forward with that. And I think that is kind of really the update on things with the NIP currently. There is another projects committee meeting tomorrow. A lot of it is focusing on more DRCW projects, but there will be some discussions on the Qual 2 model. So we'll have some updates after that meeting tomorrow. Hammel Woods project. So we've been working on this project for a while. This is one of the projects that is being funded through our special conditions, NPDS special conditions funds that we've been collecting. The project, so we covered design for the project and the permitting costs. The Forest Preserve District owns the site, and they have been working, they've been the one actually contracting with the consultant to do that design work and permitting work, and we're reimbursing them for those fees. They've been going through the permit process. Original permits were submitted in November. They had to do some resubmittals more recently. They're anticipating receiving a permit by the beginning of July. So the permits will go out as soon as permits are received. with the hope that the board approval can happen at the Forest Preserve's August meeting. And then they can let the contract and hopefully start construction sometime in September, or as soon as flows are at an appropriate level. We'll hope to hear more at our July meeting. Hopefully we'll hear that we have permits in hand. Involved in this project, but it'll be really nice to see that project on the ground and moving forward. Another thing that's been sort of ongoing, even as we've all been quarantined at home, is discussions about the next round of permit negotiations. And so there's some standard special conditions language for all of the treatment plants in the DuPage River watershed. It includes, and it's a joint with DRCW as well as the lower DuPage. And so there's projects listed in there that are associated with DRCW projects, and there's some projects that the lower DuPage has been working on. And there was this time frame that we would, over 2 permit cycles, either leaving the permit level at the 1 milligram per liter, or for those plants that didn't have a limit yet, that they wouldn't have a limit in place, and in return for that, they would be funding projects. And so there's some discussions going on right now to look at moving that out another permit cycle. The projects that have been done under this system are really showing good results, and we'd like to keep working on those results while we're refining what a phosphorus limit might look like down the road. And so there's a lot of discussion still happening on that. There's a negotiations team that I know several of our lower DuPage treatment plant operators are participating on. So there's some draft documents out there that are working on, and we should have some more information out to the bigger group of treatment plants soon. For those treatment plants that may have permits coming up this year, please keep in touch with staff here, whether it's me or Dina or Stephen with DRCW. We're trying to work on these things together and make sure that our language is consistent. So if you get your draft permit language back from IEPA, if you can send a copy of that on, make sure that we're kind of involved in those conversations so that we can all keep that consistent. And as I'm going through things here, please go ahead and put stuff in the question box or in the chat. I have both of those up on one of my screens. I'm trying to keep track of that. If you have questions as I'm going through any of these things, please put those in. All right, so we're going to jump to our seasonal outreach. So we're nearing the sort of end of spring, but I know that Leah has been communicating with folks, kind of making sure that the communications staff that have been identified for all of our members, we have them in an email group, and we've been sending information out to them as we've been posting more things up on the website. But you can find everything on the Lower DuPage River website. Just go into the members tab, hitting seasonal campaigns, and that brings you, into our 4 campaign areas. Although we've been working on these things internally here within the group on a seasonal basis, there are a number of blog posts and social media posts that really can be used through much of the summer. So even though it's in the spring box, feel free to use it at any time that seems appropriate. It's just easier for us from a planning perspective to kind of look at things on this sort of seasonal basis. So spring materials have been available for quite some time. In the past, we've really focused much on utilizing native plants. And so we're just building, the idea was that we would build on these topics every year. So all the materials that were available last year and even the previous spring, I think, are all still up there. Please do go back if you didn't use materials from last year. There's materials that are still there as far as blog posts and social media posts. And then we've added a bunch of new stuff this past spring. But again, we're working to try to build more information as we go. So one of the things we put together this year was a little PDF document that you can download and put on your own website that has information about how rain barrels are used and installed. So just kind of put together a lot of the questions that we get into kind of a nice friendly document for residents. We also put together kind of a how-to guide for doing a rain barrel sale program. And this is in partnership with the Conservation Foundation to facilitate rain barrel sales. And there's a number of kind of different levels of simply just advertise, letting people know where they can get rain barrels to actually hosting your own rain barrel program. And this can be done both at a municipality level, park district, or even we've worked with some larger businesses or organizations to host their own rain barrel sale programs. This is something that we can help out with. So this information is up on the website. And we have a number of stormwater related posts, both newsletter articles, blog post kind of things, as well as social media materials. And Leah's been incorporating these materials into our Get Involved page. So there's a page, and these are more for people who visit the site. So it has information about information about installing and using rain barrels, or information about how to do a rain garden with some of the resources that TCF has about building rain gardens or utilizing native plants. So we're trying to build a lot more of that in kind of outward looking information for anybody who visits the site. And then the members tab is really like, here's the resources that you could download and use yourself as a member of the organization. So some of the other cool things that Leah's been working on are some animations. And so these are on the website right now, and we can make these available to any of our members that would like to incorporate these into their website. So we have the one on rain barrels, and then she also did one for rain gardens. And so, if people want to incorporate these, whether it be on their website or into presentations or things that they're doing, just contact Leah or I, and we can get these pieces out. So if you've used spring materials, we would really love to know about it. If you have comments or questions about them, if you have ideas for other pieces, maybe specific questions that you're getting from your residents that we could help out with, we would really love to get input from folks. But we also want to know how people are using them. We put these checklists together every season. We started doing them last summer, partly as a way to remind you of what's available, but also as a way to kind of check things off as you use them, and then to use this as part of your MS4 reporting. Because if you've used these things, you should be including that in your MS4 report. But we would also like to get copies of these back to let us know how you're using the material so that we can continue to evolve in what we're developing. So for the summer outreach, things that are coming forward. So stormwater management has been a part of our summer topic. We've been focusing on detention basins for the last few years. So again, go into the members and seasonal campaigns, and within the summer campaigns, there's all the information from the past. So we have that nice worksheet for homeowners associations as they're going around and inspecting their ponds, detention basins, about the things that they should be looking for. And now we're trying to build beyond that, tying water quality, more water quality aspects into it, and then reaching to those landowners, whether they're adjacent to detention basins or not, but looking at how you maintain your lawns and how you can, tips for doing that help protect water quality. Some of the other pieces, so that one's done and it's posted up in the summer section already. Some of the other pieces that we're working on is kind of getting to that discussion around mosquitoes and detention basins. I know we've gotten a lot of questions at the Conservation Foundation about treating detention basins for mosquitoes, and really looking at the detention basins that have that native buffer around them, and talking about how creating a healthy ecosystem there within the detention basin is really a better way to address issues with mosquitoes versus going in and spraying. So we're working on that. We should have that up soon. We're going to continue highlighting native plants because they're just getting people more comfortable with incorporating more native plants into their landscapes, highlighting how aquatic insects are tied with water quality. So that's something that's in process. But whether it's looking at our detention basins, but also making that tie at how we look at aquatic insects and riparian vegetation as a part of water quality, and tying that back to some of our stream projects that will be coming down the road. So that is in process, and Leah's worked on a whole number of different little graphics, like our little raindrop here, and I'm gonna switch to, I guess, the next page, and you can see how she's been using some of these. So putting together graphics. This one here, she has both as a standalone graphic that will be available, that kind of highlights different pollutants. And then we're incorporating this also into the outward facing part of the website for people who come and visit. And she's actually animated this graphic, and that will be available as well. So again, we're trying to create materials that our members can take and use in various ways. And she'll have this broken up as just the graphic itself. And actually, I think she incorporated that into some of the social media posts that we're working on, but then also how you could take the text and incorporate it into your own website if you wanted that, or we'll have that modeled on the Lower DuPage River website if folks want to just link to that. And I'm going to go back a moment here. So the pet waste one, so looking at issues surrounding pet waste and tying that to water quality and public health issues. That one will come out a little bit later this summer. I applied for a grant through TCF to the Illinois American Water Environmental Grant Program, and just found out earlier this week that we were accepted. So what we had applied for was funds to work with our project partners, so within the watershed groups and the Will County and DuPage County Forest Preserves, to work on some consistent signage that we could get paid for through the grant, as well as some additional poop bag dispensers that could be put out at parks. And so as we get kind of finalize exactly how that is going to be rolled out, we'll be contacting our watershed group members to see who is interested in participating with putting up signs or some of the poop bag dispensers, getting those into parks. And associated with that then will be a big social media kind of push. So between blog posts and social media posts, we can, our thought is to really have like a concerted effort. So whether it's through the month of July or between July and August, to really have a concerted effort that between all of our organizations, that we can all be pushing out social media messaging around picking up dog poop, and really the benefits to protecting our water quality. Just it's gross to be walking down a path and having to worry about where you're stepping because people haven't picked up dog poop. So we're going to work on that, and there'll be more information coming out on that, but it'll probably be more into the July timeframe. The rest of our materials, we're hoping to have those done really by the end of next week for the most part. And then again, Leah will send out some emails letting people know that those materials are up and available. One of the other pieces that's kind of new and has sort of evolved as we've all been hunkered down working from home, the Conservation Foundation has been doing a number of conservation at home webinars. We have them scheduled out pretty much throughout most of the summer on Monday and Thursday afternoons, but then we have them all recorded and they're up on our YouTube channel. So there's the YouTube channel, and then you can look on the playlists, and then there's a webinars playlist. And it has all the conservation at home webinars that we've done to date. So as I know, communities have been kind of looking for different ways to engage with their residents. So there's a whole list of different webinars that are done. And we've been trying to post the webinar as they're coming along, posting them on the Facebook pages for the Lower DuPage, Lower Des Plaines watershed groups, so that our members can share those. We have a whole list of things coming up. I know I'm working on one with Dina and some other staff internally to do one focused on water quality. I think coming up on June 15th. So if you're looking for ways to engage with your residents, particularly on environmental issues, this might be a nice source of information. And again, we have our Facebook page out there for Lower DuPage, and we really like all of our members to like and follow us. Leah's been posting our, utilizing the different social media posts that we've been developing, and then linking them back to the blog posts. So if you're not able to put those posts or utilize them on your own municipal websites, if you can just link to ours, share the posts that we're putting up there, like the posts, that would be another way to get that information out through your social media outlets. And again, if you have questions or would like to customize any of these posts, for your community, or make tweaks, just contact Leah and she's happy to help out with those items. And that really brings it to the end of what I have. I don't know if, again, people have questions, put them up into the question and answer section, or if there is anything else that anybody wanted to share with the group before we end things. Again, you can put them in the question and answer section. I can always unmute you on my end if you had something that you wanted to share with folks. All right, I am not seeing any questions. So we will be sticking with the Zoom meetings for the foreseeable future. This seems like it's working well. We're getting some good participation from a few folks who haven't been able to maybe participate in the past, which is always nice. The other nice piece too with the Zoom is we have this recorded, and we'll be able to post it up to the website for those that couldn't make it. Let's see, Andy, did you have anything? I did not lower hands before. I don't know if there was anything anybody had that they wanted to add. Anybody that would like to speak to the group? All right, hearing nothing, I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting. Hope everybody stays safe. Enjoy the nice weather before we get more rain coming in next week. And we will see you all in July. Thank you.